Today we're talking about a newly released double barrel bourbon, one that I think you're going to not only appreciate, but one I think you're going to want to add to the daily sipping category. Let's talk about that today on the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. Greatly appreciate it. So as you can see, we are talking about from Barrelcraft Spirits. First and foremost, I have to say thank you to Barrelcraft Spirits for sending me the bottle for me to do today's review of. So with that being said, what I really want to do is dive into this and really kind of explain or express how much I think this bourbon is going to need to be included within your kind of daily sipping category. So a few of the specs on this one. So this is going to be a double barrel bourbon. However, the secondary barreling is going to be a toasted barrel versus a newly charred barrel. So something, I guess, a little bit different. So we're going to interject not necessarily char, but we're going to talk a little bit more about the toasted part of things. So this is coming in at 100 proof. The derived mash bill of this and blends, we'll get into that in a second, 73% corn, 23% rye, 4% malted barley. So as you can see, it is age stated as 5 years. However, it is made up of 8-year Kentucky bourbon, 5, 6, and 9-year-old Indiana bourbon, 8-year Tennessee bourbon, and 5 and 6-year-old bourbon from Maryland. So as you can see, it is comprised of some really nicely aged bourbon. So putting all that stuff together, again, the minimum age in that 5 years old. And one of the nice parts about this, it's priced at right around $55. So let's go ahead and kind of dive into this. We'll kind of go through again the color like I try to do, show some oils on this. Again, medium-ish kind of amber, light kind of copper, moving the whiskey around the glass. Pretty decent oils for the most part, I'd say, for a 100 proof bourbon. So let's go ahead and dive into the nose and see what this one's going to give us. So right away, I'm getting this really beautiful, like kind of burnt marshmallow and chocolate note. And almost this kind of charred honey note. Really, really nice. Kind of rich brown sugars on that. There is a little bit of a brightness that's there to it as well. Some of those fruit notes are kind of starting to come out a little bit. You know, definitely some of the vanillas, caramels, something that's very kind of tried and true of a lot of bourbons for the most part. But it smells deep and rich. And what I mean by that is I think some of those older whiskeys within this blend are really, really helping with the nose. More importantly, let's go ahead and dive into the palate and see what this one's going to give us. Cheers. So you want to go out for the evening, maybe have a few cocktails, and feel and be productive the following day. Well, listen up. I think ZBiotics has the perfect product for you. Not only do I use it, but it's why I love it. It's simple. For me, it works, and I believe it will for you as well. So how do you use it? It's simple. So open up the box that they give you. It comes with a 1 ounce sample. Give that a quick shake down the hatch and let ZBiotics take over from there. Now, as I had mentioned before, I use it prior to going out for the evening or before doing barrel picks. For me, it's simple. I know it's what's going to allow for me to feel my best the following day. So how does it work? ZBiotics pre-alcohol probiotic drink is the world's first genetically engineered product. It was invented by PhD scientists to help tackle rough mornings after drinking. Here's how it works. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for the rough next day. ZBiotics pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to make ZBiotics your first drink of the evening, drink responsibly, stay properly hydrated to feel your best the following day. Now, how do you get it? Go to ZBiotics.com or check out the link in the description below. That down there will save you 15% off your first order. Plus, ZBiotics offers a 100% money-back guarantee, so if you're unsatisfied for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. I have to say a big thank you to ZBiotics for sponsoring today's video. So let me first address the mouthfeel. I think it really does have this kind of rich, creamy kind of characteristic to it. I wouldn't say it's overly, viscous, especially at 100 proof, but I think for it being 100 proof, more than likely non-chill filtered, it does really kind of coat the mouth pretty well. So it's allowing for those flavors to really immediately kind of sit on the palate and start to kind of develop those flavors that we're looking for. So after getting through kind of the mouthfeel part of it, you're hit with this kind of immediate spice. At 100 proof, that spice factor is surprisingly big and bold. You do get kind of hints again of that marshmallow, chocolate, really nice kind of oak. In addition to that, I'm also kind of picking up a little bit of this, almost like a green apple peel. Like there's a little bit of a tartness. I had mentioned on the nose that there was something that was a little bit bright about it. Maybe now tasting that, that's kind of giving an indication of what I was nosing was a little bit of that kind of tartness that maybe you get from like a green apple or just an apple peel in general. Yeah, those really nice kind of chocolate marshmallow notes are kind of continuing to linger. I think with it being both a new charred oak and then the toasted barrel, I think those two at this point are working really well. And those aged bourbons within this are really allowing this thing to kind of really hold up or stand up and allow those flavors to really just kind of continue to sit there and really kind of develop for the most part. Now here comes some of the like the fruit layer. I'll say there's a little bit of maybe a cherry. You're still getting a little bit of that apple peel that's there, kind of some of that tartness that's kind of behind it. The spice is continuing to linger really throughout. The oak continues to be present, also adding in a little bit or a slight bit of dryness, which oftentimes I will equate to like a leather or tobacco, something that's a little bit more drying. Not super heavy, but just be kind of cognizant of there being a slight amount of dryness that's on this one. I think for this being in that 100 proof category or right at 100 proof, like I mentioned before, those older whiskeys blended within this are really allowing this to kind of work really, really well together. I think if there weren't some of those aged ones in there, this would probably really kind of fall more flat. But again, with that spice and the oak, that kind of marshmallow, chocolate, a little bit of that tartness from maybe like an apple peel, something along those lines. Again, you're still getting the vanillas and the caramels, all of that. But I think it as a package makes this a very daily sippable kind of bourbon. And that's why it indicated early on that I think this is one of those whiskeys that can kind of fall or slide right into that daily sipping type of category. I just think that for what it has to offer, not only the price point at around $50, $55, it being 100 proof, so you're not getting big, heavy proof or anything along those lines. General availability, I think wherever you're going to be able to find Barrell, this is either going to be on the shelf now or should be on the shelf very soon. So I think as far as availability, it is what it is based on your area. But again, if you can find it, shouldn't be difficult to find at all. So that's why I was saying overall, I think this kind of falls within that category of a really, really nice daily sipping bourbon. And again, I go back to that price of 55 bucks with some of these ages that are blended in here is really nice. I mean, 4 different states, Barrell is really known for their blending. And I think they've done with this a fantastic job. And again, being aware of price point for all of that kind of really seems to hit, really all the marks. Now I'll say this as well. I think as it begins to kind of settle in and really settle on your palate, you start to pick up a little bit more of the Barrell influence. Again, that spice continues to linger. But I think in addition to that, some of that aged whiskey in here starts to kind of translate over to maybe some of those brown sugars, that charred honey note that I was kind of getting on the nose. All of that really just starts to kind of work, cohesively. Very, very nice. So I think that's where they've done a great job of just blending all of these different whiskeys or bourbons together to create what I think is a very, very nice daily sipping double barrel bourbon. Yeah, even on the end, you start to pick up a little bit more of, in addition to that oak, maybe some lighter cinnamons, maybe a nutmeg, something like that. But again, I think overall they've done a really, really nice job of just blending this, and it makes it very approachable. So for anybody who's looking to maybe be introduced to a double barrel or double oak, bourbon, this would be a nice one, maybe on top of like a Woodford Double Oak or something. Now that may be maybe a little bit richer, but overall, I think it's a really, really nice little double barrel bourbon, and one that should or could easily be mixed in with your kind of daily sippers that you currently have at this point. So there you go, guys. I guess, overall, or in a nutshell, I'll say this about it. I think Barrell has and really has proven to be one of the leaders in the category of blending. And I think this does not fall short of what your expectation could be of them for this particular bourbon. I think they've done a really, really nice job of introducing, again, now a new type of whiskey for us, a double barreled. So the original charred oak cask and now a toasted oak cask, working both of those together to kind of create their double barrel. But overall, I think this works for a lot of different categories, and a lot of people are going to be, overly satisfied with what it is that this has to offer. So if you were on the lookout, or this is something that's new to you like it is to me, I think give this one a try. I think at $55, this is spot on. I think for, again, the ages, what this is, availability, all of that makes this a very, very solid product. 100%. So with that being said, thanks guys. I appreciate everybody tuning in today. Greatly appreciate it. Now let me know your thoughts below. I'm always kind of curious to hear whether you have tried this, or is this something that maybe you've just kind of seen pop up and you were eager to kind of try it. Let me know your thoughts overall on that as well. And with that, if you'd like to follow me, you can on Facebook and Instagram, those places at My Bourbon Journey. If you'd like to help support the channel and become part of the Mash and Journey Whiskey Club, make sure you check out that Patreon link in the description below. That down there with a lot of other great things for you as well. So with that, remember, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers. We'll see you next time.